We are Movie Menu Reviews. If you want dirty, you came to the right place. On today's menu, we'll be reviewing Sicario, the Day of the Soldado.
That almost sounded like we were reviewing a porn.
It does.
Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Dan the Munoz, host of Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly movie news and reviews podcast on episode 193, live on Facebook.
Yay! Live on Facebook.
I am joined by senior panelist and co-host Z.
Is this now?
This is now.
Are we here today?
We are.
Is this real life?
Is this real life?
Well, as real as it gets, I guess.
Sure.
Also here is my co-host, Mike Stay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm like, you didn't say anything, Z.
I was waiting for the lull so I can go,
Yeah.
I guess he's here.
Yeah, I guess I'm here.
The LOLs, the LOLs?
No, it's more of a
always the LOLs. No, the
lots
lols.
of love. The lots of love. It's not just
no lols. You're putting
the
him
man
to
that
sleep.
looks like he's drowning, basically.
Pretty much.
All right, on that note.
that's the note we want to transition on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we won't be doing any movie news this week, as it was kind of a slow week. There was some movie news, but nothing we felt like
completely mild and mainly casting news, which kind of was more boring. And then, when you read an article and you start getting bored while reading it, that's the kind of news we had this week.
Okay, that makes sense. That's why we're not doing any.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So instead, we're going to do the review for Sicario.
Yes.
Z. Natasha hosting news over to you.
I will make it dirty. Here we go.
Yes.
Is that the phrase?
Dirty it up.
Dirty.
Yeah, that's the phrase. Dirty it up.
Dirty it up. The movie we're reviewing is Sicario, Day of the Soldado. Directed by Stefano Sollima. Written by Taylor Sheridan. Starring Benicio del Toro, Josh Brolin, Isabella Moner, Isabella Moner, and Elijah Rodriguez.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the plot. The drug war on the U.S.-Mexico border has escalated as the cartels have begun trafficking terrorists across the U.S. border. To fight the war, federal agent Matt Graver reteams with Mercurio with the Sicario Alejandro. Seriously, come on, guys. All right, guys. So, depending on your spoiler-free review, I will decide this movie is worth a dine-in, watch it in theaters, a takeout, watch it at home, or leftovers, party it up in TJ and get kidnapped.
That's pretty good.
It's a pretty good way of getting. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna get kidnapped, party it up first.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know about TJ, but okay.
Or would you have chosen?
Yeah. Where in Mexico would you choose?
The one by Texas.
The one by
you're talking about
Ciudad Juarez?
Yeah, Juarez.
Yeah, Juarez will definitely get you murdered / kidnapped.
That would be
in that order.
The leftovers party and
in
Juarez.
Party in Juarez. Okay.
Thank you, but no. All right, so whoever wins will earn a point, and whoever has the most points at the end of the season will develop a segment that will air sometime in the end of the season. Now, because we don't have any guests, I believe that the points will remain here between the two of you. So hopefully you two will battle it to the death.
Sure.
Sicario style.
I got the gun. Oh. He pulled Harrison Ford on me.
Extra points go if you dirty it up.
Dan Solo.
Dan always shoots first. All right. So with that being said, rate this film, Mike.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna go with dine in.
Dine in. Oh, does Dan's mean he's also dine in?
Yeah, it's a dine in for me.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Well, for me, it's a takeout, but I haven't seen the movie.
Well, here's the thing.
So sell me on this movie.
This movie has gotten a lot of hate.
It has.
And,
to be fair, it's the worst timing in U.S. history to release a movie that presents Mexico in this way. So continue.
And it's very touchy, especially the opening scene and the story behind it.
Is that spoiler to talk about?
Let's just say that there's like terrorist groups by the cartel that are allowed in the United States.
Which, for the
Mexico.
record, never happened. Terrorists usually come through Canada. Just pointing that out there.
Right.
But continue. Go ahead.
I mean, there's more story behind it.
Yeah.
But let's just say though that no one is painted in a good way in this movie. Not the U.S. government, not Mexico. Like everyone is basically dirty.
So everybody's presented instead, like in contrast.
It's not
to,
like this is not like a patriotic movie where it's like America, fuck yeah,
which
the Mexicans,
which
that.
is what the original somewhat felt, right? The original Taylor Sheridan film. And Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
That one was very much a morally gray film where like it presented one character, Emily Blunt's the white savior in that story, as like the person who was.
I don't know the white savior, but like definitely the moral compass.
Yeah.
She was very. You were just
like right off the bat. Like that's the thing about the character of Alejandro, right? That's his name, the Sicario in the story. And for those who don't know, Sicario just means assassin. That's it.
Well, a hitman.
A hitman, yeah. So it's
and Soldado means soldier.
Yes, for those who don't know.
So this is definitely like. This movie has way more. This is part of the movie that Joe wanted for the first film.
Probably.
Because this movie has a lot of action in it.
I definitely want to get Joe's opinion on this film for sure.
Yeah.
Joe's a friend of Mike's.
Yeah.
Oh, and friend
he's
of
been
ours.
on the show before.
Yeah, he's been on the show.
He was actually here for the review of the first Sicario, which he hated with a passion. What was it here on the? I knew he hated it with a passion. I believe you reviewed it as well and totally trashed the movie.
Maybe. Well, how about you guys go look at our archives and find out?
Yeah, there you go. All right, so with this movie, so it's a dark story. It starts off with terrorists being chauffeured into the United States. Is there enough of a catalyst? Does this film feel organic enough in that you believe that the U.S. would contract a mercenary to
so they have a mission. They have a goal.
Yeah. So
what's kind of a
the
dirty
story?
It's kind of a dirty goal. Like I said, this movie is very dirty.
Would you would that be considered spoiler?
Okay.
Well,
it's in the trailer. The trailer speaks about like how like they have to like play dirty, that they are looking to take down the cartels, and so they're contracting this guy Alejandro to basically take him down, and then he kidnaps a girl.
The moral story, kind of, What they want to do is they want to set up the cartels to have a war against each other.
Oh, I see.
And to do so, they steal the daughter, one of the head cartels, and makes it seem like it was another cartel that did it.
Got it.
But things go awry
when the Alejandro character, from what I see in the trailer, the Alejandro character develops moral. He develops a morality in not wanting to kill the kid. Is that?
Well, there's stuff that happens before that. That's even like that's surprising, I guess. Kind of. I don't want to give too much away.
That's fine.
Aspect,
That's
fine. But I thought that the story for this film was a good character piece for Guillermo Benicio del Toro's character.
Guillermo del Toro was great in this. Benicio del Toro was.
They are not
amazing.
Related, I don't believe. So
No.
Yeah.
No, one's Colombian and one's Mexican.
There we go. Yes. So. Okay, so this movie is, from what it's being depicted as it's the middle film in the trilogy of Sicario.
Yeah, that's what Taylor Sheridan wants to do. He wants to establish like a sequel, trilogy.
Trilogy, yeah. So
which just definitely leaves it open for.
Do you guys feel like this film did a really good job of being that centerpiece? Like you got to learn about the character Alejandro and Matt Graves in the first film. So now you see the dirty world that they're living in.
So what they did, what they accomplished well was all the story with Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro. Those story, every time they were on screen or that storyline was on screen, was great. There is another subplot.
There's a subplot
in the film that is very rushed and very not developed as it should be. But by the end, like you kind of go along with it.
And that's the Miguel storyline, which from what I read, what reviews that I read, it's supposed to be like the centerpiece to connect the whole story.
Yeah, well, in the first Sicario, we had that as well with a security guard.
Right.
But I think that subplot in the first one was more of kind of like a one-off. It was purpose. I'll spoil it. I don't care. Of the first one,
That's
not
fine.
of this
Yeah,
one.
it's
Of the security guard. You build this connection with the security guard, and in the very end, he just gets shot and killed.
right.
And it's kind of like and I think it gives like I enjoyed that so much because you don't see that in the film. You just see someone get shot, and it's like, well, I didn't know him.
Right.
So if you build up this subplot and you kind of see that this person actually has a family, they actually have kids, they're trying to do these things. In Sicario 2, in Sicario Dia de Soldado, that was a totally different approach to this subplot, where I felt like they were forcing in a way to try to connect to part 3. And
I see.
and that was something about this film I didn't enjoy as much.
Gotcha.
Particularly, I won't give away spoilers, but particularly the way they handled it in the end of the film.
But you guys are saying that the film is still worth a dine in. How come?
Yes, it's just exactly as Dan had said before. Anytime you see Josh Brolin or Benicio del Toro on screen, you're glued to it, and they're most of this film. So,
Gotcha.
And you know what? Even though like Denis Villeneuve, he's an amazing director. I enjoyed all his films that he's made. The director for this movie, I felt did a really good job as well.
Did he?
Yeah, and I feel like the cinematography was very interesting.
And this was Stefano Soliano, who doesn't have much outside of the U.S., right? This is his first debut.
Yeah, this is his first English debut film.
Yeah, outside of Italy. And from what it looks like, he generally just directs like TV. So it's interesting to see that you're saying, carried the film pretty well.
Yeah, because there's like interesting shot, and I like how they incorporated like technology in this film. Like satellite and there's like images like that was really cool.
Yeah,
and,
that was pretty
in
cool.
the car scenes moments were interesting to watch.
There were
there was a lot of great tension moments. Like for example, I'm not going to give too much, but like they're driving on a dirt road, and there's a lot of dirt like covering a lot of stuff.
It's generally what dirt roads are made of.
Right. So there's like great tension in there because you're like, oh man,
the dirt's gonna get us.
And the characters sell it pretty good too. They're like because all you see is a dust cloud. They don't know if and they kind of make a point in the film as well where they're like, this feels kind of like something's gonna be set up here.
Gotcha.
And guess what, Onion? Something cool's going to happen.
Yeah. And as Dan was saying, too,
and it does.
I bet it does. And as Dan was saying, the writer of this story, Taylor Sheridan, has been making some interesting, what I would probably call like new age Western, because it just feels, or not new age because that's the wrong term, but
wave.
New wave? No, I don't know. But they're basically Western.
Set in the 1980s.
Modern. No, let's go with modern Western films, because he did do Wind River, which was an interesting Alaskan film. He also did Hell or High Water, which was a fantastic. I believe it was an Oscar nomination.
Hell or High Water.
Hell or High Water.
Yeah, it was Oscar nominated film, and he was nominated for best screenwriter.
Yeah, so it's just a fascinating career path from this one actor / writer. He's an actor, so it's really interesting to see his trajectory. So, do you guys feel like he did a pretty good job of moving the story along so that we can get to part 3?
Now, he wrote the first movie.
He did
as well.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was a good thing to bring him back for the sequel, because it does have a overall through line and arc.
Sure.
Yeah. Where like the first movie sets it up, the second movie we see them in action.
Yeah.
And now I'm really interested to see what happens in the third
Do
film.
you feel like it would have benefited from a different writer? Because a lot of films, right, like a lot of, especially like say Star Wars films, benefit sometimes from changing of cast, changing of the people in the background. So do you feel like this movie would have benefited from somebody else taking the reins?
I think it probably would have benefited if there was like a Latino writer.
That's what I'm thinking too. Like, would it benefited had you had a little more inclusion, so that it wasn't just. I mean, listen, I get that we want to, make.
So I kind of take back what I said about not painting. Like, no one's painted good in this movie. That's actually not true. There is a character in this film who is a Mexican character.
Yeah.
Who is probably like the most innocent, the ranch hand.
Yeah. There's a.
So that character is probably like the saving grace in the film. Because definitely like the American government is not painted well in this film.
Sure, absolutely.
and sure, they're stereotypical of like Mexicans being cartels,
Right,
and drugs
right.
and all that stuff, and it's the worst timing of all for it to happen. But this is a film that, even though it's topical, is not meant to be as topical as that. It's not saying that all Mexicans are this, all this.
I just feel like this movie, right? Like this movie, if written in cooperation with, say, like somebody, a Mexican, who could, I mean, not make the story more balanced, but at the very least give a perception of balance in the same way that Coco did it, right? Because when I watch the trailer for this movie, here's what it looks like and what it feels like watching it. It feels like I'm watching The Purge. And so for me, this film, the reason why I wasn't interested in it at all with it was because it looked as if I'm watching The Purge on the Mexican border. And I was like, cool, I can watch that at home. Like I can be depressed at home. That's not something I want to rush out to watch.
I mean, unfortunately, though, I mean, not to this extreme. Well, actually, I don't know. But, I mean, stuff happens.
Oh, for sure. But
so.
not to the extent that this movie is painting it as. So, and right, again, I just said that
but
terrorists, right, that whole line of terrorists being...
Right, but that they talk... I don't want to talk...
Oh, okay.
They talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Bring that up.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't like a... oh, this happens all the time kind of thing. It was kind of tied in. Then I had a similar feeling where I was like,
yeah.
And I felt like it kind of danced on that line, but then I feel like they successfully pull it off where it's like, this is a part of the story. Like
Gotcha.
this isn't something that happens all the time, but this is happening in this story, and it's just a part of this story as it moves forward.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
And I guess, I mean, it's topical in a sense, but the United States tried to do something, and
Right, and that's his story.
That's the story.
That's definitely something the CIA has been, for numerous accounts, been,
whether they're successful or not, you need to watch the film.
Right. So do you feel like, now I don't know if you guys have watched Narcos or any of the...
Well, I saw the first season. The first 2 seasons.
So do you feel like this movie borrows some of the language from the Narcos TV show? And by language, I don't mean Spanish. I'm talking about just simply cinematic language.
¿Hablas español?
Sí.
No, not necessarily, because the story that we really follow, and I will say, Isabella Moner did such a great job in this film.
Right, yeah.
Her and Benicio del Toro have this awesome screen presence together, which is fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to not.
Yeah, without spoiling it.
Okay, well, let's move on from there.
I guess, well, the trailer shows that he has to.
Because in the first Sicario, you find out that his family was murdered by the cartels, which is why he became such a vigilante. So I imagine those feelings get mixed up with his little girl.
Yeah, side note: I would like to do a spoilers section section after this. Absolutely. If that's okay with you guys.
That's totally fine with me. Again, you guys are not winning me over. So maybe in the spoiler section you win me over. Okay, so you're talking about Isabella Moner. Moner. Dang it.
Moner. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
She also came out in the Transformers film, and I believe that was not yours. Who was it? It was Heather, I think, who was here, who said it was the best part of that Transformers film. I think it was Heather who said it.
I don't think
whoever the guest was, they were saying like she was very inspirational in that, like she was like a go-getter. She was trying to create she was trying to create her. No, it wasn't.
No. Heather was talking about Tomb Raider.
Well, anyways, the point is she was the best. Fine, she was the best part of Transformers, the latest one, The Last Night. Does she do really well here? Do you feel like she's graduated from Transformers hell?
I think it's interesting because I felt like there were two different acting styles from her in this film.
Oh, okay.
And I think like in the introduction to her character, I felt like it was weaker. And then like the minute she was on screen with Benicio del Toro, it was as if she upped her game. And then and it was amazing to see them on screen together.
Oh, that's funny because I saw the opposite.
Really?
Not the opposite in a sense, like
interesting.
Not as acting wise, but like her character was very strong in the her introduction of her is really strong.
Does she murder someone?
We won't say.
I like
We won't say.
I'll take that as a yes.
But by the
you guys
end
are
of
doing the hardest work of not spoiling the movie, and I'm just being a dick the entire time.
But throughout the film, like her character gets weaker
because she doesn't kill.
And it
maybe
it is almost as if she is the younger version of like Emily Blunt's character in the first film,
okay, so
where you're kind of like experiencing the horror through her eyes all over again.
you are. Yeah, definitely.
That's why I assumed
think-
it was the case.
definitely they used her character as an in for the audience as well.
Right, because
to see the horror of both sides.
Yeah.
Because the first one you had Emily Blunt's character, and she was the fish out of water, the fish. Yeah. So you got to see her discover the world and how dark it really is.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine through the eyes of a little girl, even though she might be the daughter of a narco, it's still a gruesome, realization that the world is that dark. So, what about this film, aside from the subplot, didn't work for you guys?
I would say the introduction to Isabella Moner's character.
Okay.
But
really, I really liked her introduction.
In which she
think
murdered everyone.
Yes.
It wasn't. I think the introduction was like not story wise. Just acting wise for me for some reason. I wish I could. I think.
Was the CGI bad?
the Transformers did look a little wonky.
Dang
it!
Again.
No, I think it. I felt like. I think it was just the way the character was portrayed. Like I wasn't completely sold on the character, but as we follow along with that character, I was sold on it. And I think even that subplot, like how I mentioned, I felt like it was kind of a weaker part of the film. I felt like it wasn't a weaker part until how they resolved that subplot. And that
really, because I felt like it paid off. I'm following this subplot, and then there's a payoff at the end. For me, it was.
I felt like I'm
it's
sorry
funny how you guys are very
Yeah.
inverse. No, you guys
Yeah.
you're not talking cryptically, but it's funny to hear you guys talking inversely about the same things you guys watched.
Yeah.
It's just interesting.
Yeah.
So with that, go ahead.
I want to say it. For me, I felt like the story of this film is very cohesively well done.
I agree with Dan.
We
on that.
start with this problem. We see the story play out, and just watching that mission go off for the whole film, it's done very well and very successful.
So on that note, and this is my final question before we go into spoilers, unless you guys have any more to talk about. But what I want to know is, this movie is 2 hours and 2 minutes long. Does it feel that long?
It kind of does.
Okay, so pacing is
only
an
because
issue?
I had to
Use
pee.
the restroom.
Yeah,
Did you just say pee?
Yeah, pee.
Okay, cool.
It's mostly
Not poop. Just
no, not poop.
Okay, just
Just
checking.
pee.
Just checking.
You missed the best part. No.
I didn't go. I waited.
Oh,
okay.
But the most ridiculous of it all is AMC has like 1,000 trailers before they play in the movie.
I do hate
But
that.
go on.
Yeah.
But that lets you know how good this film is that Dan had a pee and he refused to leave the theater.
That is true.
Yeah.
That
I
is
was like,
some
come
motivation.
on, finish up already.
I usually just run to the bathroom.
I think Benicio del Toro's story arc is worth watching.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I agree with Dan.
Especially if you enjoyed the first movie.
Yeah.
I mean, this one might piss you off a little bit, but there was a payoff at the end. But
Yeah, and there was, but not the one I was hoping for. And to me,
He turns into a cannibal.
I know exactly why.
Yeah.
But we followed this story for the whole film, and at least there was something out of it. We didn't get
A cannibalistic ritual.
Yeah, okay. I see your point in it, and now we'll go more into detail.
Just for the record, I'm writing a way better story.
But I think there were moments in this film that were reminiscent to me of like Heat, where you see these two just between Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro, and you're kind of I was just anxious for those characters to meet again at some point.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
and they both of their acting was amazing.
It's
in this
crazy
film.
how much we've circled around on Josh Brolin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
it's the summer of Josh Brolin.
Well,
It is.
It
Oh,
is.
the year of
but
Josh
like,
Brolin.
right, like what I'm saying is that like there was a moment 3 or 4 years ago where Josh Brolin couldn't get a job and he wasn't being picked up on a lot of films. But now it's literally it's come around because he's shown growth. He's shown the ability to, do good movies, and on top of that, be good on set. It's just interesting. I'm just commenting on that.
Yeah.
All right. So should we go into spoilers?
Yeah. Do you have a rating?
You guys haven't won me over, so the audience will need to, watch and listen.
How did we not win you over?
Huh?
How did we not win you over?
Because I kind of want to know more.
Okay.
I want to know more. Is what I'm trying to say.
There's a lot
because you
more.
guys kind of cryptically began the first arc, and I'm just like, I want to know more of what happens there because I want to be sold on the story. And again, I'm kind of hesitant on just how dark this film is.
Oh, I don't know if this is going to hurt us or help us.
Go for it, Rigo.
Rigo says dine in.
Oh, then it's definitely a takeout.
Thanks, Rigo. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, Rigo? How's it going? Thanks for watching.
Hey, Rigo.
Hey, Rigo.
I love how the fact that you knew that I was talking about.
Yeah. Who else is gonna comment on it? I think it's Rigo for sure. But anyways, I'm gonna say for now a tentative dine in. So if you're interested in the Sicario, now you mentioned Heat. Is there any other movie comparable to this film?
I would recommend. There's this foreign film called Sin Nombre, and I would recommend checking that out. That would be a great double feature with this Sicario film. I feel the themes
except the first movie would be even better double feature with this film, but
Which first?
the Sicario would be a better
Okay.
double feature with this film. But
Well,
I
I
thought you were
mean,
saying
yeah,
the original Call Me by Your Name for Sino. Completely different.
Watch Call Me by Your Name. No, so Sin Nombre, which has very similar themes, and I think.
I think also like The Departed might be interesting as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with Dan on that as
All
well.
right, sounds good.
And Heat.
Yeah.
And Heat, which is
Yeah.
a fantastic film.
Yeah, I agree.
Hooah.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right. So I'm going to say dine in for now. I'm going to toss the hosting duties back to Dan. We'll be closing it up, and then we'll be tuning into the spoilers.
Spoiler free, which you we have out tomorrow,
Yes.
Tuesday. We have our new episode, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, alongside another review for
Hereditary.
Yes.
Hereditary.
So if you're interested to hear Dan and Mike's views on that film,
With Christopher T. Wood.
there we go.
Yes.
Stick around or go and download the podcast tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have tons of episodes to do.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. On that note, thank you so much, Z, for hosting.
You're welcome.
You jackass.
I'm kind of on one, but listen, I'm sleep deprived. I've had 3 cups of coffee, and
Boo-hoo.
it's all your fault. It's all I gotta say. It's all your fault.
Boo freaking who. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you, Dan.
Good thing we didn't have to fight to the death.
Yeah,
we agreed on
I'm a little bummed out about that.
It would have been like Josh Brolin versus Benicio del Toro.
That's what I'm saying.
Which one would you be, Dan?
Oh, I can choose for you guys.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you definitely be Benicio.
Oh, thank
You'll be
you.
Josh Brolin.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah.
I like that.
Well, you strike me
No,
more
no,
as
no,
like
I
the I will murder your family kind of thing.
I
That
think
is-
that's
Oh, you're
more,
doing the look?
I think that's more
Trying
you.
No.
I think if anything, Mike's Emily Blunt.
Which is also accurate.
Who we should kick out right now? So I'm just kidding.
Who should we kick out? Oh, I see.
Who we should kick out.
All right.
okay.
Calm down there, Josh.
So stay tuned for our spoiler review for Sicario, the Day of the Soldado.
Dan needs the sandals. And the cargo shorts. Are they cargo shorts?
The Crocs.
Oh, they're Crocs.